Let me tell y'all something. Nothing humbles a person faster than realizing they ain't nearly as important as they thought they were. My mother-in-law, Miss Linda Dearest, walked into my house, my living room, holding a stack of papers like she was the Queen of England. She looked me dead in my face and said, "You have 30 days to vacate my property." I laughed so hard I nearly fell off the sofa. Because that woman had no idea what I had sitting in my files. She had no clue whose name was actually printed on the deed. And oh, baby, I let her run that mouth a whole week before I showed her who she was trying to evict. Hey sugar, welcome back to Auntie's living room. You know I always tell y'all, don't let nobody play in your face. So go ahead, get comfy, get your tea. And if you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next family mess I gotta clean up. Now let's get into this eviction that backfired so hard, Linda's eyebrows are still uneven. My name is Vivian. When I married my husband, Marcus, I knew I wasn't marrying just a man. Oh no, Marcus came with a mother who believed she was the sun and the rest of us were planets meant to orbit her. From the first day she met me, she said. I pictured my son with someone, softer. Which, in Linda language, meant rich, pale, and ready to bankroll her retirement. I ignored it. I tried, Lord knows I tried. But that woman never liked me, didn't matter how many holiday dinners I cooked, gifts I bought, or smiles I forced. And when Marcus passed unexpectedly, yes baby, this is a widow story. Linda saw her opportunity. Or so she thought. Marcus and I bought our house 2 years into our marriage. Well, correction. I bought it. My credit. My down payment. My savings. My realtor. My signature. Marcus contributed to the home. Absolutely. But legally? The mortgage and the deed were in my name only, because at the time, he had a bankruptcy hanging over him like a storm cloud. He always planned to add his name later, but life didn't give us that chance. Linda, however, swore up and down that the house naturally reverted to her after he died. Ma'am, what? It was a Tuesday morning. I was in my robe, drinking my peppermint tea, watching the birds on the back fence. Peaceful. Serene. Wonderful. Then I heard tires crunching gravel. Not a knock. Not a call. Linda let herself in with the spare key Marcus gave her 4 years ago. She strutted into my living room wearing her church coat and judgment like perfume. Sit up, she snapped, waving a manila envelope. We need to discuss your future. My future? I asked. Is it bright? No, she said. It does not include living here. She shoved the envelope toward me. Inside was a printed eviction notice she typed herself. With a signature line that said owner, Linda M. Franklin. Baby. I screamed. Silently. On the inside. Because how delusional do you have to be? This is my house, she declared, no stuck so high it scraped the ceiling. My son would want me living here, not you. Linda, I said softly, what exactly makes you think you own this house? She lifted her chin. Marcus told me. And when a wife dies, her assets go to the husband. So when he died, it all came to me. What? That's the law, she said confidently. Pack your things. I almost wanted to hug her. Not out of love. Out of genuine pity for how blissfully wrong she was. But instead, I smiled and said, all right then, Linda. Let's see where this goes. Now see. A normal person might have corrected her right then and there. But not me, sugar. Oh no. Because Linda didn't just try to evict me. She told the neighbors, the pastor, and half the church sewing ministry that I was being removed for squatting. Squatting. In the home I paid for. So you know what I did? I let her tell every soul she knew. I let her humiliate herself in surround sound. She sent a formal notice by text. She told the mailman to redirect my future mail. She even went to the HOA, who politely ignored her, because she tried to say my rose bushes were hers. Baby. I watered those roses daily just to spite her spirit. Meanwhile, I collected every screenshot, every voicemail, every paper she slid under my door like she was delivering regret. I even baked her a banana pudding. Because nothing throws a villain off more than kindness. I came home from work and found Linda standing on my porch with a locksmith. The man looked uncomfortable. She looked triumphant. I'm changing the locks, she announced. You can pick up your belongings tomorrow. Ma'am, the locksmith muttered, she says she owns the home. She's lying, Linda barked. Do your job. He looked between us like he'd rather jump into traffic. I calmly pulled out my phone. Opened my scanned mortgage documents. And handed it to him. Sir, I said sweetly, please read the owner's name out loud. He read it. Slowly. And Linda's smile melted like butter on a skillet. But instead of backing down, she doubled down. This is fake, she shouted. You forged it. My son told me this was his. Where's your paperwork? I asked. In my heart, she yelled. Baby. Even the locksmith chuckled. Linda filed a claim with the local magistrate, saying I was illegally occupying property belonging to her bloodline. The woman used the word bloodline like she was auditioning for Game of Thrones. I didn't argue. Didn't defend myself. Didn't explain. I thanked the court for including me. And I showed up with a folder thicker than the pastor's Bible. Linda came in with a handwritten diary page. A picture of Marcus at age 12. A chicken scratched while she typed and printed that said, Marcus leaves everything to his mama. The judge looked at her like, ma'am. When it was my turn, I calmly laid out the deed, the mortgage, property tax receipts, insurance in my name, the original closing documents, screenshots of all 47 eviction threats, and the video of her trying to change my locks. The judge's lips pressed into a thin line. Then he said, Mrs. Franklin, if you continue this, you may be liable for harassment and attempted fraud. Linda gasped so loud a bird hit the courthouse window. Case dismissed. I won. She lost. But we weren't done yet. See? I could have left it at that. But Auntie believes in educational consequences. So, I did 3 things. 1. Changed all the locks. Not because she could get in. But because the sound of a new lock turning is the sound of peace. 2. Sent her a cease and desist. A real one. From a real lawyer. Spelled correctly and everything. 3. And the big one. I invited her over for one last conversation. She came in looking smug, probably thinking I was about to apologize. Instead, I handed her a certified copy of the deed. With my name highlighted in neon yellow. Why are you showing me this again? She snapped. Oh, I said, sipping tea. I just wanted you to see the home you tried to steal. From the woman your son chose. She clenched her purse so tight the leather squealed. And by the way, I added. I revoked that spare key Marcus gave you. For safety. And sanity. The scream she held in. Baby, I felt it shake the floorboards. She stomped out. Nearly slipped on my welcome mat. I didn't even laugh until she reached her car. You know, grief makes people do strange things. But entitlement? That turns folks into monsters. I loved Marcus with everything in me. But loving him didn't mean I had to tolerate the woman who raised him. And the biggest thing I learned? A home is not just where you live. It's where you stand your ground. Now baby, if you enjoyed this little journey, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and share with someone whose mother-in-law needs to mind her business. And if you got your own story? Auntie's listening.